Well, hello there, YouTube This Old Sword followers, and I hope you are. And if you're not, hop on and subscribe. We have a classic TwoSun beauty for you today. A design by Mazwan Mokhtar. Again, this guy just hits it out of the park with everything that he designs. They're just form and function, just gorgeous. This is the TS191, aka the Gulper. That's right, Gulper, as far as I've heard. Although I haven't seen it advertised as such, I believe that was a nickname that Mazwan gave it. You won't necessarily see it advertised that way on the eBay auctions. Nonetheless, beautiful, beautiful blade here. Carbon fiber, titanium, and S90V premium steel. Not really a deep carry clip, but deep enough. Got an interesting little ball that they machined into the underside there. It is not inserted, which is different. It's not a ceramic ball. Looks like it's part of the clip. I haven't taken it off to look at it, although I have had this knife apart. I wasn't sure whether I'd like it or not, but the more I work with this knife, the better it feels. It is a nice size. I like large knives. It's an interesting blade shape with a point that's really not above the handle much, so it doesn't sweep way up like this. Those are kind of hard to get into the handle when you fold them anyway. Pretty nice satin finish on the blade. Beautiful forward belly there. So you've got a lot of straight here for working. You got a belly for working when you need it. Comes through pretty sharp. We'll test that in a few moments. Got a nice point, and the blade stock isn't overly thick. So although your grind, I believe, is flat, feels like a flat grind. Really only goes up about halfway. You still have a pretty slicey edge because they didn't overdo it with the steel. Carbon fiber inserts. And I agree with Lee out at Love Them Knives. When you've got the insert material on both sides, it just really rounds it out nicely. When they just kind of cop out and do titanium on one side and insert on the show side, it feels sort of half done. So I'm in concert with that. Action right now is perfect. Drop shutting. Opening, perfect. So what I had to do, and past couple of larger, heavier TwoSuns I've gotten, I've had to tune up a little bit. What you have to carefully do is disassemble the knife, take off the lock bar side. This insert comes out with the clip attached, more or less. Although you do need to take that screw out because it goes all the way through and holds it together in the back. Then what you do, and there's no over travel stop with this knife, which is interesting, but basically you bend it out a little bit, gently, a little at a time, and lessen some of that tension. The other thing you can do to make the detent a little lighter is to get your Dremel out and very carefully smooth out the hole in the blade, the pocket in the blade that the detent ball goes into. Anyway, you have aggressive jimping, only 2 grooves here on the flipper, but they are a little rough. But they make the knife work. What can I tell you? Anyway, now I couldn't have shown it to you before, but the way it is now is perfect. Running on bearings, oiled them up with a little KPL. Got some nice machining work here into the titanium. We don't have a lanyard hole or a lanyard pin. Have complete solid construction, almost looks like a unibody construction, but it's not. There's a seam you can see. That is held together by this screw and a tubular counterpart on the other side. This screw from the clip and the pivot. And then we have, there's a pin up in there that you can't see that's hidden, but that is the overall look of the TS191. We have relatively shallow engagement there of the lock, but all of that hardened steel insert is engaging the steel blade, which is a good thing, and it is locked up tight as a drum. No blade play, no lock. Really, really nice. Thumb ramp is gorgeous. Very aggressive jimping here. I mean, you rub your thumb back and forth, you take a little skin off. So some might feel it's a little overly aggressive, but it does lock it right into your hand. I have plenty left over on the end. I like that. And all in all, just, really a gorgeous knife. Let's put the tape on it. And we've got 8. Let me back off just a little bit. We have 8 and 5/8 for the overall length. We've got a blade of 3 3/4. We've got a cutting edge of 3 5/8. It is a heavier knife. Well, first of all, let's get the blade stock. And before the blade stock, let's get the handle. So still under a 1/2 inch. It's a slender knife for a large, heavy knife. We'll call it a 1/2 inch. Blade stock, 3.4 millimeters. So as I said, not quite a 4mm knife, but not too many of them are. You'll find one every now and then in the TwoSun line that is 4mm, but nothing over. So we're roughly 3.5 millimeters. For weight, I'm not sure on my present background whether the scale will zero out, but we'll see. So you want to scale on a rigid platform, and I have kind of a soft leather cushion here. This was something I recovered from a chair that I threw out, and I dyed it black. It was white. It was an IKEA thing. So that's pretty accurate. We've got 5.36 ounces. I believe that is true to what is advertised. So it's a heavier knife. You may get a different measurement if you have one and you weigh it, or you might see the numbers different elsewhere, but that's ballpark. I would say that's about right. Not a 6-ounce knife, but it is a 5.5-ounce knife-ish. Let's see how it compares size-wise to a Rat 1. And the Rat 1 blade is pretty much the same. Rat 1 handle a little bit longer. And we're going to look at that in a minute. We've got an excellent blade to handle ratio on this TS191. And the griptilian is going to fall a little short by about a 1/2 inch on the blade and about a 1/2 inch on the handle. But look at that. Look at how far that tip of that blade comes out near that handle. Beautiful. I mean, they used all of that handle, and yet no danger there because you've got the shape of the handle following the general contour of the blade, so you've got a nice blockage there. Maybe if you really jammed your thumb in hard, you might be able to touch the tip of that blade, but right now, with just moderate amount of force, I'm unable to get caught by that tip. So you see, beautiful curve here in the handle, complementary curve in the top of the blade. I mean, this guy thinks of everything, and yet there is nothing wrong with that same shape and form when it's open. Just gorgeous knife. Love it. It's a keeper. Not everything is, but this TS191 Gulper, designed by Mazwan Mokhtar, TwoSun knife. Excellent if you can get your hands on one. They're really coming in somewhere in the 125-ish price range. Depends on the day. You could get it for a little less or a little more. And you might find somebody selling it as a buy it now auction on eBay. And you can also find these on White Mountain Knives. So don't forget to visit White Mountain Knives and use the coupon code Old Sword for your 10% discount. Enjoy, and we will see you soon. This Old Sword signing out.